Happy Sunday. 87 degrees. I just got out. Well, I didn't just get out of church. I was outside talking to my friend. And we were talking about people's personalities and stuff. And very interesting conversation. But she did open my eyes to some things. And I opened her eyes to other things. So it's all good. Now, if you all remember how I made those videos about the new church and everything, the mega church, I kind of feel like my pastor heard my video because this morning, and I don't know, maybe it's just me, but this morning he was like, and the devil is so against the new church, and the devil's against it. He's against us reaching people, and yada, yada, yada. I don't remember word for word what he said, right? But he did mention the devil was against it. Just to clarify, I'm not against the new church. I'm not against reaching people. And I've said this before many, many, many times. If anything, I am for the people, and I've mentioned this several times as well. I'm like, what about this congregation? Because it was mainly about the focus, and I mentioned this also, how in every service he has to mention that other church. So the focus is always either that other church or the youth. And it's not about that either. And now the service I really did enjoy. He was talking about on how we serve God's house, not ourselves. And I was like, yep, that's true. We do. We serve God's house. And what in the world just happened? This car was stopped all the way back there, and another truck actually got in front of him. A truck from behind me drove up and went around him. I had no idea that guy wasn't even at the light. I thought somebody else was in front of them. That truck was probably wondering, what are they waiting for? Anyhow, but as I was talking about, it's also about serving the church, right? And the house. And I'm like, but you have people in your house. That's exactly what I've been saying. You have people in your house that need to get served also. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but there's a lot of hurting people. And he even mentioned how there's a lot of hurting people. And I know they're kind of going that direction because now they have a series called The Call, Answering the Call, and they want and need volunteers. And I'm pretty sure it's because, you know, they want to get as many volunteers as they can, so when they do open the new location, they'll have some volunteers that they can send that way, you know, and then still have enough volunteers here at this church, which is, you know, I guess it's a smart move, right? And anyhow, I do agree with volunteering. I used to volunteer at one point. It didn't go very well. But back then we had a different set of people, right? We had people that weren't in the same mind frame or in the same walk, you know, and they were still going by the way of the world. So that shouldn't stop me, but it did. It did. I'll admit it. But anyhow, I kind of just giggled a little when he mentioned that, because I was like, I knew he was going to bring it up. And I just knew it, because anytime anyone has any concern or is not in agreement with anybody there, any of the staff, the pastors, it's brought up. And is it right? No, because you're not really addressing the problem. You are just trying to humiliate whoever said it. But it's the same way what I was saying about when his daughter was giving the service about the youth. that she said that we need to encourage the youth and we need to not be prideful. That Gen X doesn't need to be prideful, and neither do the boomers. And I was asking, well, who's being prideful? Hang on, y'all. Okay, I got the typical tamales for Sunday. My son and I really enjoy that. Anyhow, so as I was saying, like, yeah, you just address, you don't humiliate. You know, that's not how you approach anyone, no matter how upset you are. And I can testify to that because my daughter-in-law got really upset with me twice already. The first time, it was because she was discussing something with the kids that 5 and 6-year-olds don't need to know about. And another thing was, the second time was because she was already upset because the dog had an accident in the house. And, you know, I was just trying to help out, and she yelled at me for it, you know, like I'll be right with you, or something like that she said to me. And I'm doing the best that I can, you know, and nobody was even telling her anything about that. You know, I was just asking her to pick up the other corner of the rug so that, you know, we can clean it outside. But anyhow, and that's what my friend and I were talking about as well. We were talking about how some people are not very approachable, but yet it's best to talk to them. And it's in the Bible also that you should, if you have something against your brother or your sister, it's best to address them. And I completely agree. And she's asking me like, well, what do you do? I said, I try to address it right away. I said, but however, some people, I'm not going to hit that car. My car is over here going spastic. But some people don't listen. They just take offense. Like, how dare you tell me that I was rude to you? How dare you tell me that's what I meant? How dare you just talk to me that way? Who do you think you are? You know, type of deal. And you're trying to be as nice as possible about the situation, but they don't want to listen. All they hear is the insult. They don't hear how they hurt you. And it kind of makes the other person feel like they're not being heard, or their feelings don't matter. Only yours. And so my friend was telling me, like, no, you're supposed to, even, you know, you're just obedient to God. And as long as you do what you're told, if you're meant to talk to that person about something, you apologize, you already did their part. And I said, I agree. I said, that's true, you know, you're right about that, you know. And she said, and I said, if they don't agree with you, then that's on them. Like, that's really on them. Like, you did your part, you listened to God. And I said, that's why I've been praying about how to approach her, because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to start any strife between us. She seems to think that I don't like her, and I think she don't like me, and that's not even the truth for either one of us, right? And she was telling me about her coworker, how her coworker had an issue with another coworker, and she told her coworker, okay, well, you need to talk to them about that. Why are you telling me? And I said, exactly. She does. He said, I always, you know, that's what I do. And anyhow, the coworker doesn't want to talk to the other coworker because she says no, she's gonna make a big deal about it, but she really did hurt me, and I just don't want to like start anything new. So then what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just let it roll off our back and just keep going like nothing ever happened, and you're going to carry on that with you? Because I can tell you right now, I'm the type of person that if I do that, I end up blowing up one day. For the littlest thing, I will blow up. And it all stems from that situation that happened with whoever, you know, that I never confronted them about. So I guess we need to practice what we preach, and not not be so easily angered, but at least be willing to hear out someone else. And I can tell you right now that when I said all that I was talking about, it is because I'm hurting. I'm going through some things right now, physically and emotionally. I know that's not an excuse to feel hurt all the time, but I am. And then to have people yell at me on top of that, it just makes it even worse. It makes that hurt even more painful. And so you just never know where someone is coming from until you're willing to hear them out. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Let's try to hear each other out before we blow up. You know, don't even blow up at all. Hear the other person out and meet in the middle. Apologize to them for what you said because you didn't mean it that way, or you didn't mean it towards them. And then the other person, be accepting of that apology and apologize in return. And thank them for apologizing. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I held that against you all this time. Thank you for finally talking to me. Thank you for apologizing to me. Like, I know myself. I know I'm not very approachable at times. But, you know, for you to have done that, it means that there's something in me that I need to work on as well. That's all. So anyway, I hope you all enjoy your Sunday. If I sound a little weak, that's why. I'm not feeling very well. But it's okay. I'll be alright. And things will work out. And I love you all very, very much. I'm working on something else that I hope to record soon. I just need to set myself down and just relax and do it, you know. But until then, again, enjoy your Sunday. We're having rainy weather over here the next couple of days. But what comes after rain? The rainbow. So that's the good news. Love you all. Thank you for listening. Lots of love, hugs, and prayers. Bye.